When it came to the actual graduation and like our pre-grad ceremony, the biggest bummer is just because I still got to see all my friends, but not being able to go and like see like teachers and being able to like hug them and say like proper goodbyes. But I feel like we were so lucky. Like the people who were on island, we ended up going to a hotel together, and we like stayed there and we watched our graduation premiere on YouTube. And I don't know, I loved our graduation, and I don't know if everyone graduating in 2020 had the same or as good as an experience, but I'm just very lucky that I still got to be around people who I love and be around my friends, still got to say goodbye to teachers. And I mean, I still graduated and still presented my greenstone.
Yeah.
And just in a different way.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Seven Stones podcast. Today we have with us a guest as part of our ongoing series, Humans of Bali. Humans of Bali is a series where we dive into deep conversations with diverse individuals and topics that form Bali's authenticity. With me in the studio today is an old friend and very recent graduate, Chayton Thompson. Having spent a good 10 years of his life in Bali, Chayton pretty much grew up here, right?
Yeah.
All of those 10 years were spent at the Green School, where he learned a myriad of different things, asked a lot of interesting questions, maneuvered his way through a marimba band, and shared his good-natured and cheery self with everyone around him. His Greenstone, which is Green School's version of a capstone experience, was based around curiosity and fermentation, which already has me feeling curious and intrigued. So before I keep on blabbing on and getting into all our Green School shenanigans, let me welcome Chayton. How are you today?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for inviting me here.
Is this your first time on a podcast?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think so.
How are you feeling so far?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
What have you been up to most days recently?
I've just been kind of enjoying being graduated from high school.
Mm-hmm.
I've been hanging out with friends and before they leave and stuff, because
Mm-hmm.
people are now starting to move out of the island and go work on their plan for the future and stuff.
Has everyone started leaving already, or?
Yeah, people obviously started leaving while school was still in, but now some people have started. Well, people are going to start leaving like in the next week. Some people have left already.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is that sad?
It's a bit sad, but I mean, I feel like it's been actually pretty. We've been so lucky to. I mean, it's unfortunate that maybe we couldn't present in front of a live audience with our greenstone or have a graduation with everyone to be there, but I feel like we were so lucky to still be able to see all of our friends, because in Bali the lockdown hasn't been as strict as other places, obviously. And so I think we've gone to say goodbye to each other like 50 times. So it's pretty great.
That's
and
nice.
I'm still going to be here for a couple months, and so are a couple of other friends, and it'll just be nice to hang out with them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So before we get super into this, maybe for the audience out there, you could talk a little bit about your background. Who are you? Where did you come from? And all that.
Okay, well, my name is Chayton Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Japan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was born in Japan. I was there for 2 years, then moved to Singapore for 6, and then I moved to Bali. So my parents put me in the Green School. We came here for the Green School, and then I've been here for 10 years.
Okay.
I'm 17 now.
Where are your parents originally from?
My father is from California,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother is from Vancouver, Canada.
But you've been growing up pretty much in Asia, it seems.
Yeah, I've lived my entire life in Asia. I've visited the North America a couple times over the summer to visit family and friends, but I've never lived anywhere but Asia.
So what's that like to kind of have your origins be from somewhere but grow up in a completely different culture and environment?
Well, it's because it's not like I have this, I don't know, I have this conversation a lot because I have a teacher and my friends always, whenever I say I'm born in Japan, they're like, oh, so you're Japanese? And I'm like, absolutely not. Because, one, I do not look Japanese, I can't speak Japanese, neither of my parents are Japanese. But, and so it's like I'm not Asian, even though I've lived here my entire life. And I don't know, maybe it'd be different if I was maybe not in international school, because I've been surrounded by like culture and community that's similar to what, well, not 100% similar, but I still am surrounded by like American culture, European culture, things like that. So I still, and my accent is obviously American.
Yeah.
So I consider myself like North American, or if someone asked me where I'm from, I would say Canada and America.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say Japan, Singapore, Bali.
No, I would not say that.
And what has that been like to kind of grow up in a very multicultural environment, in the sense that, like, clearly you're not from Asia, but Asia is pretty much your home, right?
Yeah.
What has that been like to grow up in a multicultural environment? And you talked about also kind of still being exposed to American culture and American people, but in the international school environment.
I mean, like when it comes to school, like I feel like before I came to green school, of course, like my schooling is probably pretty similar and stuff, and it was, other than the fact that I think the big thing is kind of just like one of them's like language, like there's just, I feel like the big thing is just the people. Like in Singapore, I was surrounded by Singaporeans, Malaysians, Indian people, and obviously at school, like I had friends from who were American and stuff, and lots of my friends were expats, but just I feel like just being around a different group of, like, I feel I'm so used to being around like Asian people or things like that, like it's just, and then it's just weird to sometimes even to go back to the States,
right? And
I mean, not that there is, but it's just like I'm surrounded by, like, because with my family I'm surrounded by like only white people and stuff, and it's, I think that's the biggest thing, is just, and then obviously religion.
Yeah. What's that like to kind of have an international environment around you, family-wise, school-wise, but be living in an Asian culture?
I mean, I feel like for the most part, my life is like, I wouldn't say like I'm like engrossed in like Asian culture, things like that. Like I know about it, I've participated in it before, but I feel like my life is like mainly like international. Like I go to an international school, like I don't know.
You just kind of, that's just kind of your life.
Yeah, and I don't really have any
thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, it's just because I have no context of what it's not like to be living like this, so it's just kind of how I've been.
Right. Is it ever weird when people ask you like, where are you from, and you have to answer that you're Canadian American, even though like this is your home?
Yeah,
do you consider this your home? Right?
Bali?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Bali's my home. Majority of my life has been lived here, and I've made like all my friends and like teachers and stuff are here. But like when I've had this argument with multiple people, like multiple times, or not argument but discussion, like I consider yourself to be like, I have an American and Canadian passport, so like I'm American and Canadian, or my parents are American and Canadian, so I'm American and Canadian. But then I've talked to people before where they're like, oh, I grew up in Bali, like, but they're white, obviously, like they're European or American or something, but so like, and they're like, yeah, but like like obviously they don't say they're Balinese, but they say, oh, I'm like from Bali. And it just seems weird to me, because it's like, no, you're not. Like you live in Bali, or like even to say like Bali is my home sounds a little funny to me.
Yeah. Do you
But-
feel a disconnect or kind of like?
No, I don't feel disconnected to Bali. No, I don't feel disconnected to Bali at all. I love it here, and I love Asia. I feel really connected to this entire island. Like, I love it here. I would feel pretty, I would say I feel pretty disconnected from America. Like, I kind of usually just view it from the news and stuff, and kind of culture and things on the internet, and then some of the friends I have back there. So like whenever I go back to the States, it's just, I don't know, it's very overwhelming for me. Like after like a week there, even I'm not even in like busy parts of it, but just America's overwhelming compared to Bali.
Yeah. I mean, I was there very briefly, but yeah, I can get what you mean.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's kind of a little bubble? Like Bali's its own little bubble?
Yeah, that's something that's always kind of like brought up by people, and sometimes it's kind of said as a negative thing. I feel like by some people, like, oh, you guys are in a bubble, like it's not really like the real world out there. And like obviously like at the green or even green school is more of a bubble than Bali is, I would say, just because I don't know, it's such a safe place. The teachers are amazing, everyone's friendly, it's such a community, which is not always the case in other parts of the world or Bali or anything.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like, I mean, I just feel like, I mean, obviously you're physically separated, but I don't think like when we go out into the real world, like we're gonna be like, oh no, what's going on? Like, I feel like kids from green school or kids from Bali, they're pretty smart and just have a good understanding of the world. And it's like, because obviously they are around, and well, I think the big thing is being at an international school, because you have so many people from literally everywhere around the world, like 42 different countries and stuff, and
you get exposure from
to everything. So I feel like it makes you a very, for the most part, like
person.
open-minded, and just you have lots of experience with different religions, different like races, different cultures, and I think that's,
you get the whole world in the bubble of the green school.
Kind of. And then I mean, there's some things that I won't understand until I go to the US.
Yeah.
And yeah.